We're live.
We're live. Wow, this is great. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Constable Ray Wong with the Hamilton Police Service. I am in the crime prevention branch. So, what we do is we give talks to people regarding crime prevention, ways to prevent yourself from becoming a victim of crime. Okay, and I was asked to give a talk on frauds and scams today. Okay, so I've been in the police service for about 12 to 13 years, and been in the office for about 3 years. So we're here to talk about frauds and scams. So we'll just start off with a bit of defining the topic that we're talking about. So we're going to talk about frauds, and the criminal code definition of a fraud is everyone who, by deceit, falsehood, or other fraudulent means, whether or not it is a false pretense within the meaning of this act, defrauds the public or any person, whether ascertained or not, of any property, money, or valuable security, or any service. Okay? That's a big mouthful. I don't even understand all that. Okay? So, to sum it all up, it's basically theft by deceit. Okay? So if there's any questions, and I'm sure there will be, and there might be some from online, feel free to put your hand up, ask the question. I can stop and we can discuss things. My presentation is basically going to be about what fraud is, kind of things, why frauds happen, why people are victims of frauds. Then I'm going to go through a whole bunch of different examples of some frauds. Okay, so you'll see a bunch of things that you might have heard of, you may not have heard of. You might have read in the newspaper or known somebody who has been a victim of fraud. And I'll just go along and go through that presentation with you. Okay, so frauds. Now, anybody could become a victim of fraud, okay? And that involves somebody making contact with you. Now, there's several means that can happen, several ways that can happen. One method is through the telephone. So you may have received a phone call, usually around dinner time when you're sitting down and having something to eat, and you'll have someone on the phone that will want to talk to you about maybe a trip that you want, or water heater rentals, or something else that they just want to sell you or get you to sign up for. Okay, so telephone is one of these. Yes, go ahead.
I always say telephone is one thing. Like usually you'll get calls from like banks and like things like that. So how do you tell the difference between like this is actually my bank calling or this is not my bank calling?
If it says it's your bank, and sometimes they don't know who they're talking to, right? They'll call a random phone number with an automatic telephone dialer. If they are talking about a bank that you have no interest or have no accounts with, then you know that it's not your bank, right? They could be trying to sell you something. Yes, go ahead.
I got a call from TD once, and I'm like with TD,
Yes.
but I wasn't sure if that was them, and they said all this information about me. Do you know what I mean? And they asked me to confirm it.
So,
Should I have confirmed it or not? Because I did, but it was over the phone though. That's the thing.
right. So they will not, if they want to communicate something to you, they will most likely do it through the mail.
Oh,
Okay, a letter addressed to you with your account information, everything on it. Okay, so if you get a phone call and they're asking you about your account information,
it was about some outside insurance company. Do you know what I mean?
like Malash Monix,
Something like to do with TD, but like insurance for fraud or something.
okay, so what you should never do is give any personal information over the phone.
I didn't give anything. They read everything
Okay.
and asked me to confirm.
And did you say yes, yes?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But they had everything accurate, correct?
Yeah.
Well, those are some situations you should be leery of.
Okay.
Okay. You have the right to say, I don't want to answer these questions, and hang up. Okay, and that's usually what I would suggest you do. Because the longer you stay on the phone with these people, the more information they're going to try and get out of you. And if you already feel uncomfortable with them on the phone asking you these questions, then just say, hey, I'm going to hang up, or I'll call you, or ask for, look them up, that phone number, and call them back.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so telephones. You also have online scams. So these are scams through your internet browser. They are through emails, text messages, and that. So everything on the internet, everything electronic, okay? There's also mail scams, so you may be getting letters in the mail saying you've won a lottery or asking for some kind of you to sign up for some kind of service. Okay, so mail is another option, and sometimes you just get a bunch of mail. It's not so frequent now that everything's electronic, but you may get some mail that's for scamming. And the last method is door-to-door scams. Okay, now, there's a question?
Yeah, we have a question from Rob.
Okay.
Can I read it to you?
Sure, go ahead.
So Rob wants to know, there's a guy that comes around on campus and inspects wallets. Should I let him?
Inspects wallets.
Yeah.
Never heard that. I don't know the reason why they would give to inspect people's wallets, but if somebody came up to me and asked to see my wallet, I probably wouldn't give it to them. Okay, so that I don't see any legitimate reason to do that. So I would be leery and not give your wallet to that person.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. As I was saying, door-to-door scams are less they just passed legislation now that they're limiting all the door-to-door sales. So water heater rentals, driveway sales, charities and stuff like that. Only certain registered charities are able to go through this process. So you should be getting less knocks on your door. Okay. Now, door-to-door scams could be people soliciting business, like sealing your driveway or doing your roof. Okay. And we'll get into that when I get to the door-to-door portion. So how do they get your name? Why do they always pick on you? That's a question a lot of people have, right? Now, there's a couple ways. Especially at McMaster, they may have access to the student directories. Okay? They would know that, they would have that directory in their hand, they would know that you are a student at this school. Okay? Telephone directories, yellowpages.ca, Canada 411, the good old-fashioned phone book. They may be going through that and just targeting people in a certain area. Okay. Over the internet. So you may have signed up for one of those surveys that you finish the survey and they give you a free prize or something like that. So you're entering in your name, your email address, or whatever information they ask you on that form. And people get their hands on that and they use that to contact you at a later date to try one of these various scams. Or even if it's like a pop-up or something like that. There's various ways that they can get your information if you provide it. Other con artists. So these guys, sometimes they know each other, and sometimes once they have a list of people who have fallen for a scam in the past, they may even pass that information on to another scam artist so they can try something different. Okay, so that's how your name gets passed around. Okay, so how do they work? Why do they work? Why do so many people fall victim to frauds and scams? Well, they're very good at using high-pressure tactics. Okay, so when they call you, they're very excited. They speak to you like this is an amazing thing. You have to decide now whether you want to take this opportunity. Okay, and they use really high-pressure sales, and you could say no, and then they'll start on another script that they have prepared. You can say no to that, and then they'll go on to another script. So really, they just keep going, because every time you say no, they have something else to say. And they'll continue to do that until they wear you down, and you finally say yes, or you guys hang up. Okay? So they want you to act immediately. So that vacation that you won, you have to wire $200 to us to pay for this, for legal fees and stuff like that. Or else this vacation is no longer yours and it'll get passed on to someone else. Okay? So they'll pressure you. They may promise you a big reward, like the vacation, prize. Or they may promise you a big punishment. For example, if they're using some type of extortion method they may be claiming to be from the CRA or from the CRA or from Microsoft, saying that your computer has been compromised. Okay, so they can use scare tactics to get you to do what they want, and so they play on your fears. Any questions so far? Okay, so we'll start off with telemarketing. So when you get a phone call, if you have call display, take a look at it. Okay? And if it stays lit up the entire conversation and you feel that this conversation is inappropriate, jot down that phone number, okay? I'm not saying that this is going to be valuable information. It may not be. A lot of times when they call, they do call spoofing, which means that they enter in a phone number that is different than the one they're calling from. Okay? So just for our record, just write down the phone number that you have on the call display. Sometimes they use like the police station's phone number, and they display that on your call display. So you think that the police is calling, but truly it's not. It's them just pretending to be us. Okay? Now, have you ever gotten a phone call at home, and you pick up the phone, and you say hello, hello, and nobody answers? And there's like a bit of a pause, right? Now, that pause is because it could be someone who's using an automatic dialer. It could be somebody that's calling from overseas, so that there's that little bit of a delay for them to connect you guys. So if you hear that, then you should be wary that something's coming. Someone's going to come on the phone and talk and try and sell you something. Okay? Me personally, when I hear that pause, if I don't hear a hello in that first hello, I just hang up. If it was important, they would call back, right? So, bottom line is, if you're being talked into something, if you're being pressured into something, just hang up the phone. Okay? There's no need for you to stay on the line with them. You don't have to be polite. You can just say, "I'm sorry, I'm not interested in whatever you have to say," and you just hang up. Okay? Because the longer you stay on the phone, the more they're going to pull you in and try and get you to sign up for something, okay, or sell you something, or get your personal information. Okay? And they're tricky. Sometimes they'll pull it out of you, right? Like the example you gave, right? So they may say that they have your information. They may ask you questions about your information, right? They may not know the answer. They could be very general questions, but they're kind of working it around to you giving the actual answer. Right? Okay, so some common telemarketing scams. So there's the Canada Revenue Agency scam. There is an emergency scam. All of these I will talk about, okay? There's an immigration scam. There's a new scam called virtual kidnapping, which McMaster has been, a couple of students from McMaster have been a victim of. And it's got some publicity in the media. There's the lottery or prize scam. There is the vacation scam, the service scam, and the caller ID spoofing, okay, which I talked a little bit about before. So, has anybody heard of the Canada Revenue Agency scam, the CRA scam? Okay.
Pay with iTunes cards.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I've gotten like 4 calls
Yes.
just in the last couple of weeks, so yeah.
Do they only call house phones?
Assistant.
Oh, sorry. Do they only call house phones?
Yes, most
Yeah.
likely they call just the home phones.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still happening. It's been going on for a couple of years, and it still gets some people. Okay, I remember. I'll explain what it is. Basically, you get a phone call at your house. They may have your name, so you'll say, "Is so and so here?" And you say, "Yes, this is me." And then they'll say that they've encountered a problem with your income taxes, and that you owe a certain amount of taxes. Okay, and they'll threaten you, saying that these taxes are overdue. You must wire us the money immediately, or else the police will call and they will come to your home and arrest you. Okay. So, I mean, if you're pretty alert to these kinds of things, you can easily see it for what it is. But some people just don't know. Some people may just, because they use such quick talking and such threats, and they may have a lot of information about you that you may feel that they're legit. They'll use all that to scare you into wiring them money. So what they want you to do is they want you to, sometimes they call you on your cell phone, and they will say, "You need to wire us $10,000 for your taxes." And they'll say, they'll even give you direction while you're on the phone. So they'll talk you through the whole process. They will say, I need you to go to the Money Mart on Barton Street. I need you to take out $4,900. Because they know that the maximum you can wire at a time is $5,000, right? So they'll say, take out $4,900. Then I need you to go to this Money Mart at this location and take out another $4,900. And then go to a third one and take out the remainder. Okay? And they will actually, I've had taken reports where they actually stay on the phone with this person the entire time. So this person is going to the Money Mart, driving with their cell phone, right? Getting the money out, still on the phone with the person, driving to another one, driving to 3 Money Marts while taking out money. And this person's on the phone with them the entire time. Okay? So, bottom line is, the CRA will not require immediate payment. They never will. They will not call you at home. The only way they will contact you is through registered mail. Okay? And like I said, that mail will have your name, have your social insurance number, have all the information, and it'll be legitimate with a maybe Government of Canada type of letter envelope. Okay?
If you have my account with CRA, do they contact you by email? Is that okay, or?
They may, but like I said, if they give you, they will notify you that, for example, your notice of assessment is ready, but they won't send it to you. You will have to register, and you have to log in to their CRA My Account in order to view that information. And they also have a message center there as well. So for any messages, they'll tell you to log on and check the messages on their website. Right? Okay. Now you have to be careful, because if you get any emails from them, I'll go over it later on. Just closely examine that email, because there are some clear tell signs that it's not real, whether it be spelling mistakes or links that go to somewhere else, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. Okay. They will not call you and tell you that you will be arrested, okay, if you don't pay immediately. And whatever you do, do not send them money. Okay, there's a proper way to do it, and it's not over the phone. The emergency scam. Any questions on that CRA? So the emergency scam. Now this generally happens to older people. They usually target grandparents. Now this is a phone call, a frantic phone call that the grandparent gets. Could be middle of the night, and someone will say, "Hi, do you know who this is?" And then they'll say the name of their granddaughter or grandson, and they won't, they'll say, "Yes, it's me," because they won't give their name, right? And they'll say that I'm in trouble. They'll say that they're in a car accident, or they're stuck in a country and they don't have the money to get back to Canada. Or they'll say something like they've been arrested and need bail money. Okay, and so they play on their fears. They play on the fact that that you need money. You need to send money right away. And they always say, they may ask, "Have you told your parents?" And then the scammer will say, "No, whatever you do, don't tell my parents. I don't want them to know that this happened." Okay. And so the grandparent ends up going along with it and then wiring money to an account somewhere, usually in overseas somewhere, and then that money is gone. Okay. Right? That's pretty much the emergency scam. And it does have a lot of victims as well. Immigration scam. Now, like I said, a lot of these are using fear to get their money, right? So the immigration scam is, say if you're new to the country, say if you're not a full citizen, maybe a landed immigrant, or you're here on a student visa or something like that. Okay, they may call you claiming to be from immigration, right? And they'll say that there's something wrong with your paperwork, and that you will be deported and arrested and deported if you don't act now. Okay, and they'll send someone over here to arrest you. So again, it's another scare tactic to get you to provide information. It could be your passport number, it could be your driver's license number, your name, date of birth. They may ask you a series of questions. They may even ask for a credit card number or for you to wire money to them. So bottom line again, any government agency is not going to call you at home and make you do something right away. Okay, there's proper channels, whether it be through registered mail or again, an email directing you to log onto their website. Okay. So don't fall for that. They're not going to come to your door, they're not going to arrest you if your paperwork is wrong. Okay? Clear? Virtual kidnapping. So this is something that was new to me this year. Now, what happens is, it happened to a couple of students at McMaster and at U of T as well. So it generally happens to international students. What happens is they get a phone call on their cell phone saying that their credit card has been compromised, that there's been some unauthorized activity on their credit card. So they claim to be the credit card company, and they tell them, okay, don't use your cell phone. Don't use any social media. No texts, no instant messages, no social media messenger apps like WhatsApp or I forget what the other one is. It's commonly used here.
iMessage? Or...
Sorry?
No, I was going to say iMessage, but it's the other one.
There's another one that's popular with the international students.
WeChat?
WeChat? Yeah, okay. So they'll say don't use any communication, no form of communication. Don't talk to anybody, don't do anything. Turn off your cell phone. Okay? Don't answer the phone for anybody. And then what they do is because now you're cut off from the world, they will contact their parents and they will claim that you, their son or daughter, has been kidnapped, and then they'll demand a ransom. So the parents back home are trying to contact you, they're trying to message you, they're trying to look you up on email, telephone, whatever, and you're not answering. So they get worried, they think that it's real and that you've been kidnapped. So they're trying to get a ransom money for you guys. Now what happens normally is they end up calling the police service, so Hamilton Police, and they say that this is what happened and my daughter or son is missing, he won't contact me. And then we have to go and we have to locate that student. And believe it or not, sometimes it's difficult because you've pretty much dropped off the face of the earth, right? Because there's no phone, there's no emails, there's nothing, right? So we have to go and look for you and verify that you're safe. And then we contact the parents. So this happened to 2 students here, I believe, and some students in Toronto as well. And this just happened in the fall of last year. Okay? So, again, if somebody is telling you something on the phone, just don't believe it. Or if it's something that you need to verify, then ask them all sorts of information like what their name is, what their extension is, if they have an employee number. Get all the information you can, hang up, and then call the business that they're claiming to be from and see if that person works there. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions about that? Yes, go ahead.
So how are these people getting that information? Are they somehow hacking into the school's registrars? Or
Well, like I said before, they could have access to the student directories. It could be social media. They could go into a McMaster Facebook group, right, and find out all the students' names or at least what they look like, right? And then they can, and again, telephone books. They can look up your name and phone number and call you that way.
and how do they find the parents?
Well, again, it's it could be that they're from the same country, right? They could have knowledge that these people are
I
away,
see, okay.
that these people have children overseas, and so they would use their names and connect the dots with the kids and end up forming this elaborate scam, right? It's a scam called a scam for a reason. So that's another scam there. Again, over the phone, you could be called saying that you just won a lottery, okay, or a prize. But before you receive this lottery, you have to pay an upfront fee of $100, and that's for processing this lottery. It's for administration costs. It's for mailing the check. stuff like that. So they want you to pay money up front, by usually through wiring them, Western Union, MoneyGram, all those different places. And if you do that, your money's gone, and you will not receive prize. You just lost all your money. Right? Okay? So don't believe it. If you haven't entered a contest, then you should not be getting a phone call, right? So you can't win a contest that you haven't entered, right? Correct? Doesn't that make sense? Right? So if you want a trip to the Bahamas and you hear that cruise, the boat go, right? You didn't enter that contest. Why are they calling you? Right? They shouldn't have your name. They shouldn't have your phone number because you didn't enter that contest. So again, it's a scam. Okay? And they're trying to get money from you, and you won't get that prize. Okay, same with the vacation scam. So sometimes they'll claim they're from WestJet, Expedia, Air Canada, Transat, all the big airlines, okay? And they're going to say, we're going to offer you a free vacation. You just want a free vacation. Has anyone gotten that? Yes? Okay. I get them all the time, too. I get them on my work phone number. I'm like, do you know you just called Hamilton Police? Usually they don't answer me back. So, yeah, so they're offering you a free or discounted vacation. They want you to sign up. Okay? It's usually an automated call, so you'll hear that pause first. You won't hear a pause, you'll hear nothing at first, and then they'll have an automatic message. Okay? And they say you've been awarded a credit or a discount on a destination vacation if you book immediately. So that means, and then they ask you for your personal information, and they ask you for your credit card to guarantee the trip. So it's false, it's fake. They're going to take your credit card number and they're going to use it somewhere else. Service scam. I got this one a couple years ago. All right, so you'll get a phone call saying, this is Microsoft, and we've noticed that there's some viruses being sent from your computer. Okay, and we need to clean your computer. And then they actually, I obviously knew it was a scam right away, but I played along with them. I said, okay, all right, so my computer is infected, okay. So what do you need me to do? And they said, okay, I need you to go to your laptop. I need you to go to this website here. And it was a website that was like, had nothing to do with Microsoft, nothing to do with Windows, anything like that. Obviously I didn't do it, because I don't think. And what happens is you go to a website that obviously they've prepared, okay? So they'll have information on there. They'll have a form to fill with name and all your personal information, and maybe your address and your credit card. Or they'll have a link. They say, you need to click this link. But if you click on that link, it'll actually activate a security breach in your computer, where they can come in and take over your computer. Okay? So you just given that person full access to your computer, so they can maybe check all your stored passwords on your browser. They can check. They can access your bank account. They can transfer money, all without you being there. Okay. Or they may charge you a fee to clean a computer that was never infected to begin with. So like I said, the computer could be hacked, and you could have money sent through some various third-party money websites. Questions? Has anybody gotten this one? You seem like you've
No,
got
I
a
have
lot
a
of
question.
questions. Yes.
Are you supposed to save your passwords online? Like, what happens when you do that?
I know a lot of web browsers have the convenience of storing passwords and stuff like that. Problem is, you should never have that on a public computer.
No,
for one thing,
no.
right?
Yeah.
If it's your own personal computer, then you run the risk of, if your laptop is stolen, right, and there's no password on it, once they open the browser, you go, right, because usually all the last websites you visited, if you type in the URL search bar, TD will come up, and they'll click on that, and it'll come right to the login page, and then you just click in the field, and it automatically populates it with the username, and then the password comes up, and you just click OK, and they're in. Right? So if you want to be safe, don't store any of your passwords on the browser. Type it in every time. It's more inconvenient, but it's more secure. Okay. That's a good question. Call ID spoofing, like I mentioned before, they're going to disguise the phone number on your call display. It could be coming from a local number or someone that you know, or a family member, and they try and trick you into answering the phone and trusting who they are. Online scams. Okay, so there's something called a continuity scam. Phishing. I'm sure you guys have all heard that term before. If you don't know what it is, I'll explain it to you. Counterfeit goods bought online. Overpayment scams. Romance scams. And ransomware. Okay. So again, these are all stuff that you discover online. Okay. For example, a continuity scam is when you see those pop-up ads. Hopefully everyone has an ad blocker on their browser. It stops all those pop-ups. But if you don't, sometimes one will get through, and it'll say that you won something, or complete the survey to receive a free gift, or you get something that's enticing you to click on it, right? And then they'll ask you to provide a credit card to pay for shipping and handling. So you may do a survey, and they may even ship you what they promised you, right? But what happens is when you see that little pop-up, you see the survey, you're missing all the fine print of that. So even though you're agreeing to take the survey, agreeing to do this, the fine print on that may be that you just signed up for a monthly fee of $500 a month. It comes out of your bank, or goes on your credit card every month, right? So now that you've done the survey, you've got your whatever toaster or whatever made you fill that survey out. But now you're on the hook for $500 a month from this company. Okay. Now it's very difficult to cancel those commitments too. All right. So one thing you can do is you can put a stop payment on the credit card. Say that this is a fraud to your bank, and or you can just refuse the merchandise. So if it's coming to your door, say I don't want it. Okay. And that way it's never been delivered to you. So you're not on the hook for that product. Okay. All right. So yeah. So that's another one. So phishing. Okay, so phishing is basically pretending to be from a legitimate company, like Amazon or Apple or your bank, TD Canada Trust or whatever. Okay, they'll send you an email, and it looks legitimate, right? If you glance at it very quickly, so it looks like it's from Amazon or the bank. Okay, and it's asking you to enter all your credit card information or your private information. They want all that. Okay, it may say that you need to do this because of a certain fraud that happened. They'll scare you. So it always say there's an urgent problem with your account, and it looks like it's from the business. So you have a false sense of security that this is from them, and you need to do whatever they ask you to do. Okay. So take a look at this email. Has anyone received an email kind of like this? Maybe not from Amazon, but from a different company. I get one from BMO all the time, Bank of Montreal. I have no accounts with Bank of Montreal. That's your first clue. That's a scam. If you don't have an account with this bank, they shouldn't. Obviously, you're not going to get an email from them. Okay? So let's take a look at this. So it looks, it has the Amazon.com there. It's got the little arrow. It's got the logo there. Okay. So it's saying that, dear client. So you notice they'll never use your name because this is sent out to thousands of people. So it's very generic. All right. It'll say, we've sent you this email because there's strong reason to believe. Okay. So they spelled believe wrong. Okay. Your account has been used by someone else. In order to prevent any fraudulent activity from occurring, we are requiring you to open an investigation into this matter. So we've locked your Amazon account. So now they're saying your account's locked. Right? You're like, oh no, I can't order my DVD box set of whatever, right? Okay, and then they'll say, to confirm your identity, click on the link below. Okay, this is a big red flag. Okay, if they say you must click on this link, don't do it. Right? Because this link, even though it says Amazon.com, right? Does anyone know how to hover over a link? If you take your pointer from your mouse, don't click on it, but just put it on here, the actual address that it's going to will appear. Okay? So that means that if you hover over this link, even though it says it's from Amazon, when you hover over it, you'll actually see this link here. So that's where it's actually going. Okay? You'll also notice that there's a spelling mistake in the email address that says that the A is missing in Amazon. Okay? So anything that has spelling mistakes, grammar errors, that looks wrong, it's a scam. Don't ever click on anything. And first thing you do is delete this. Never open any attachments. Never click on any links, okay? Because you don't know where they're going to take you. Okay? So, securing your account. Always log out of your online sessions, okay? And if you're on a public computer, then clear the cache, clear the search history, clear the history and everything, just to get rid of anything. Because there could be cookies, there could be things stored like your password, right? Never just click on a link in your email, okay? So, get into the habit of hovering. So, see how it says www.google.com? Oh, is this going to work? No mouse? Oh, there it is. So, the actual link is going to youhavebeenscammed.com. Okay, so that's where it's going to go. Alright, so that's hovering. So make sure you do that. Don't click. Take your finger off the button, okay, before you do this. Don't. Because if you accidentally click it, then you're in trouble, right? So.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Yes, question.
What is the worst that can happen if you do click?
Remember what I said about the Microsoft thing?
Yeah.
You'll end up in a website, and they may unhack your.
So that stuff will automatically download just by you going to that.
It may not necessarily download, but it'll take you to a page, right? And if you keep going, you're going to get trapped. You're going to end up entering information that you don't want to, right? And it's just like if that email, that link is fake, bogus, right? The web page that you go to is going to be bogus,
Yeah.
and it's going to ask you to fill in a lot of information, and it's all bogus. It's all getting captured by them, right? And they're going to use that information to open up accounts, to use your credit card, to do all sorts of stuff, okay? Yeah, so never trust an email from your bank or financial institution or the CAA. See how it is, okay? Like I said, they don't send emails asking for personal information. Ever. You always see that if you do get a legitimate email, they'll always put in there, we do not ask for any personal information. Do not give any, so you know that's legit. And call your bank if you're worried about it. Call your bank, ask them if they sent this email, and they'll tell you for sure. No, we don't do that. Okay, so Wi-Fi. A lot of people don't have, like some people who don't have data plans, right? They're like, oh, I'll just connect to a hotspot somewhere, right? There could be a hotspot in this cafeteria lunch area here. Now, you need to be careful. Okay, this is, for example, for laptops, okay? You get this message pop up when you connect to a hotspot. It'll ask you, is this a home network, work network, or public network? Okay, you always need to make sure that you select public network, because that changes the security settings on this, for this connection. Okay? If if it's a home network, then you're connecting to a router. How many people have a router at home? A lot of people, right? How many devices are hooked up to that router? Just one? So your TV is in?
Oh yeah, my TV. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
many
Your
things.
phone,
Yeah.
your laptop,
Yeah.
your TV,
Yeah.
right? Smart TV, right?
No, I don't know. Sorry.
Your Google Home.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? When you're on the home network, you can control all of those things, right? You can watch a video from your phone on your TV because it's passing through the router. Well, that's fine if you're at home. But if you select home network in a public Wi-Fi hotspot, you're basically doing the same thing. You're allowing your device to be accessed from another one. Okay? Yes?
Is this a scam email? I got it from the CRA the other day.
No, that is a legitimate email.
Okay.
Okay? Because you registered for my account.
I hadn't registered yet.
Oh.
Get out.
It looks legit.
Okay. I also got an email this morning from Google saying that there were 2 security breaches.
Okay. That I would be wary of. You notice in this email, there's no links.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just writing. It's just text.
Okay.
It's information that they're giving to you.
Yeah.
So there's no way that this could be used against you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no attachments. So it's just telling you that you've registered with the CRA to have online documents instead of paper.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if you've done it or not.
Thank you.
But it seems legitimate. Even the email address that it came from,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's written in English and in French right below it, it seems to be legitimate.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
We don't understand the home one. Can you explain a little bit more?
Sure.
Why is home so bad? How does it?
So this tells your laptop how to set the security settings for the router. Okay. So if you're in a public network, it's not going to allow any other device to communicate with yours. Okay. So that means an iPhone can't hook up to your laptop. It blocks everything. Your laptop is a standalone device now. Okay. It'll still connect to the internet, right? If you're in a home network, the security settings are a lot less. You can hook up to it. People can actually connect to your device. They can track all the sites you're going to. They can track your, they can look at the files on your computer, right? They can do lots of stuff. But a public network makes it a standalone device so that nothing else can connect to it.
Sorry, I have a lot of
Yes.
questions.
Sure, go ahead. No, it's good.
Why do people cover their webcam with a sticker or something? I don't understand that.
So again, if a person has gained access to your computer,
So like for Apple, is the
Yes.
Apple technician can gain access to your computer?
no, it's if you've allowed somebody to hack your computer
Oh, okay.
by entering in information from your computer.
Okay.
Okay, so they may be able to hack into it and actually use your camera
Oh really?
and view stuff. Yeah. Yes.
Do you know what the equivalent of this is on an Apple, on a Mac?
I don't have a Mac, but
Because I know sometimes you'll be in the library and you can see, people will have it open and you can see other people's like iCloud, whatever.
yes, yeah. So are you talking about
But
if you're searching for a network to connect to?
yeah,
You'll see a whole bunch of different ones.
no,
Yeah?
you'll actually have access to people's like folders, like their public folder. So I was on the train once, I saw that. But that's why I'm curious if there's a way.
There must be.
I know how to turn it off myself, but I wanted to know if there was a thing for this network.
Are you talking about AirDrop?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can turn AirDrop off.
you just turn it
Just
off.
click it off. Yeah.
And that's it. That's the only.
I think AirDrop allows you to transfer
To other
stuff
people,
to other people
yeah.
easily, right? So yeah, turn that off. Turn off AirDrop, everybody. Only use it when you need to. Okay. So yeah. So be careful with hotspots. Where you're searching and all that. Yes.
No, I was just gonna say, so setting up a hotspot where internet is not very strong somewhere is dangerous, I guess, or.
Setting one up
Risky.
yourself.
Yeah.
So you're talking about using your phone as a hotspot?
Yes.
You can do that. You need a password. It's not free access. Like these are unsecured. Wi-Fi is unsecured,
Yeah, that's
right?
true, because you have to put a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're creating a hotspot on your
Yeah.
phone, then there has to be a password.
Okay, right, yeah.
You said for Wi-Fi it's unsecure. Is that just like at Walmart and places like that? Because Mac has a Wi-Fi network, but you have to sign into it.
If you have to sign into it, then it is
Yeah.
secure.
Okay.
If you don't need to sign into it,
Okay.
then it's obviously not secure.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question. I always bought some antivirus software. Do you think this is better? It has some like firewall and
Firewall?
Yeah.
Yes. If you have a firewall, it should be active. That prevents malware and stuff going into your computer. Yeah. And I think Windows has a basic firewall as well. So even if you have Windows, activate the firewall just in case. Okay. Counterfeit goods, that's when somebody impersonates a legitimate retail website and they're selling counterfeit goods at drastically reduced prices. Okay. I don't know, there's a bunch of companies in China that have they sell counterfeit goods. So you could be buying like a Guess watch and it could be fake, stuff like that. Online purchases. Right, so they may ask for your credit card information and never send you the product. Right? So make sure you go to a legitimate website like Amazon, eBay, because they have protections against fraud as well. Overpayment scam. Say you're selling, say it's a laptop online. Okay, you're selling it to somebody. So they are going to send you payment, maybe a check or something like that. Or if you're selling a bicycle, or I don't know, there's different situations where they're going to send you a check or something to pay for the product, but they ended up just giving you more than you asked for, right? And then they'll say, oh, I wrote a check in error. Okay, go ahead and cash it, but then just wire me back whatever's extra. Okay, so that check that you have, you go to put in your bank. It has to take a couple days to clear, right? A day to clear maybe. And you've wired this person money, and then you find out the check is bogus and it's not real. So now you're out your product that you sold, and you're out the extra money that you've sent. Okay. So a romance scam is when you've developed an online relationship with somebody. Okay, it could be through various social media ways. Okay, social web apps and stuff like that. And then as the relationship progresses, they start asking you for money. There's your bank account information, your credit cards, and stuff like that. And you end up getting drawn into that. And then they really have no intention of having a relationship with you except with your money. Ransomware is okay. This is kind of like kidnapping. They're kidnapping your computer. Okay, you'll see a pop-up message saying that this computer contains all sorts of illegal stuff. Okay, pornography, child pornography, stuff like that. And they'll scare you into thinking that your computer has this stuff. And it'll look like it's coming from the RCMP or some law agency or something like that. And they're going to lock your computer. So what they end up doing is if you click on something, they can actually, again, by clicking on certain links, they'll take access to your computer. They can actually infect your computer with a bug that will lock up all your files. And then they'll demand a ransom to unlock your computer. Yeah, kind of sneaky. It's like virtual kidnapping, right? They kidnapped your computer. Okay, so mail scams, inheritance scams, lottery prize scams. Again, this is similar to the last and psychics. Okay, so an inheritance scam is sometimes you get a letter asking for assistance from a relative, okay, saying that you've got a lot of money. Again, these scams are all the same. They basically want to scare you with something or entice you with something, get your information, and or pay a fee up front. Okay, they're all very similar. Sometimes referred to as the Nigerian scam, which I'm sure people are familiar with. Lottery prize scam. Don't ever believe any letter that you've won something. Okay, they'll ask for fees and all sorts of stuff. Don't send it. Never send any money. Don't give any personal information. You do not have to pay fees to accept a prize in Canada. So you don't have to pay to get something that should be free. Right? And if you didn't enter that contest, you shouldn't be getting that. Psychic scam. It's when you get mail from a psychic offering services. It's kind of strange, right? But some people end up sending money to them. You know, they kind of just get pulled in that way. And they say that if you don't pay them, there's going to be a curse placed on you. Okay, door-to-door scams. I'm just basically, these are very pushy salespeople. Okay, they're very pushy. They want to get into your house. They want to talk to you. They want to scare you, like, oh, there's a big hole in your roof. You need to get this fixed right away. Or they're going to push their way into your house, saying, I need to look at your water heater. I need to look to see if it has a certain part that's outdated, right? That needs to be replaced. And so they'll be in there. They'll want to get into your house. Don't ever let them in your house. Okay. Ask for ID. Sometimes they'll have a picture ID. It's the same thing with charities. They'll have maybe a picture, or they have like a registered charity number. Again, be wary because it could be a made-up charity. Okay, just always be careful when somebody comes to your door. Okay, don't let them in because the charity could be bogus. Unless it's I was going to say unless it's the police. Okay, all right. So don't fall into the pressure. Never say yes. You don't have to make a decision. If you do decide to sign a contract, right, it's for a water heater or for a roof, okay? Hold on a second. I'll get to it. There's a cooling off period, okay? Which means that if you sign a contract in your home, you have 10 days where you can cancel that contract, okay? So a gym membership, you get suckered into a massive gym membership, you can cancel that in 10 days. Okay. If you've rented a water heater, you have 20 days to cancel that agreement. Okay. It's called the cooling off period. Okay. How do you protect yourself? Stop. Don't rush into anything. Look at what's in front of you. Examine what's being brought to your attention there. It's just don't make any hasty decisions. If somebody is trying to scare you, ignore it because they're just trying to make you do something without thinking. Okay? And look through the documents, look through the emails, listen to your friends, family, police officer, if they have any experience with these things, okay? And continually reassess to make sure the situation is safe. Be wary of all emails, telephone calls, mail, anything asking for personal information. Ask a lot of questions. Don't fall for pressure sales. If there's a pause, hang up. Don't give up personal information, hang up. Don't fall for pressure sales, and watch out for caller ID. Just hang up the phone. Okay? They'll just move on to the next person. Never transfer money to someone you don't trust or know. Don't provide details. Don't give banking information. Don't open emails from questionable sources. Don't let people into your home. Don't be pressured. Don't let them in your home. Ask for ID, get the name of the person or charity, and there's the cooling off period there, 10 days and 20 days for a water heater rental. And if you are a victim, or if someone has tried to scam you, call the Hamilton Police to report it. If you've been victimized, if they've actually gotten money out of you, it's a police report. Okay? If they haven't gotten any money from you, but they've attempted to, Then there's the Canada Anti-Fraud Center. There's a phone number for them to call, for you to call them. Okay? And notify them that that someone tried to scam you. Okay? And if you're on campus, McMaster Security has asked me to put their number there as well. Okay? Whew, that was a lot of information, right? Hopefully I wasn't too fast, but if there's any questions? Yes?
I heard about a terrorism scam where apparently terrorists will call you, and then I've heard that just by you answering the phone, they will like figure out ways to charge you. Is that even
Yeah.
possible?
So what they're saying is now, sometimes they just ask you questions and they just want a voice prompt.
Yeah.
So they'll say, what's your name? And you say, your name. Or they'll ask you a question that's a yes or no question to get your voice and record your voice saying yes or no. Okay, so that, again, is another scam that's out there. So try not to fall for something like that. Just be aware that that is something that might happen.
Oh wow.
The terrorist one is, again, another extortion type of scam where they threaten to hurt you if you don't give them money, right? So it's another type of scam that way. Yeah. There's so many scams out there, and I've just glossed over the major ones. And this material here will give you the top 10, and the little black book will tell you all about different frauds and scams as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a website that kind of posts the latest scams,
Yes,
right?
the Canada Anti-Fraud Center.
Oh, that one, right?
Yes.
Anti-fraud, Canadian Anti-Fraud
They have a
Center.
lot-
Yeah,
I-
and I thought that was really good because I didn't
Yes.
know that existed, but it tells you like all the latest ones and the ones that are just, popping up, so you're aware.
Yeah, and they're more current with what's going on.
Everyone have their questions answered?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ray, for coming.
You're